Welcome to Advocate Today. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. Right now, more Americans own homes than any other year following the Great Depression. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. It's the American dream, but that dream may not be a reality for many Black Americans due to systemic racism and discrimination. According to the latest CDC report, 46% of Black Americans owned a home in the fourth quarter of 2022. That's compared to 75% of white Americans. Another issue is the value of homes. According to the Brookings Institute, homes in predominantly Black neighborhoods are valued at $48,000 less than in predominantly white neighborhoods. This is leading to a cumulative loss in equity of approximately $156 billion. This disparity has been shaped by a history of segregation, redlining, and other anti-Black policies targeting Black neighborhoods, including discriminatory lending practices. There are signs of progress. The Black home ownership rate increased by 2.4 percentage points from 2019 to 2020, marking the largest one-year increase since 2012. This year marked the 55th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act, which guarantees your right to obtain housing without discrimination. Ready Life is an organization equipping future Black homeowners with tools to advance economic opportunity and generational wealth. I spoke with financial expert and Ready Life advisor Eugene Cornelius Jr. about the housing hurdles facing Black Americans and possible solutions. Hello, Eugene Cornelius Jr., economic expert and senior advisor of the Milken Institute and Ready Life. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I want to begin a little bit by talking about Black homeownership and how that's been long shaped by discriminatory policies and practices. Would you talk about some of the background into roadblocks for prospective Black homeowners and what folks are facing in today's market?
Well, they're facing the same thing they always have faced in the market. You know, we forget that credit scores was not something that was introduced into the 70s. And it was put out there to kind of level the playing field.
Mhm.
And I can tell you that even in that underwriting process, there's inherent biases and that exist within. For an example, when you look at the 6 C's of credit, when you look at collateral, you know, home ownership is a low bar in the African American community. And on double doses, not only low home ownership, but because of redlining, when home ownership is there, it is devalued or valued less than in its white neighborhoods. And so when you look at collateral as far as equity in your home to, use as down payments or to start your own business, it is very limited.
Mm.
Then you have to look at the professional experience and the requirements in underwriting for that. And we all know that the disproportionate level of experience and C-suite experience that African Americans get versus white America. So therefore, you have a double-edged sword of the major things that are written into the underwriting process that limits the capacity for access to capital in our current underwriting scenario. Now, as credit gets tighter in this interest raising point, that's even elevated. So that's what the average Black person is dealing with in this market.
Right, right. Well, thank you for that background. And would you talk a bit about how these practices or this kind of institutionalized and systemic practice, how does that impact generational wealth for Black communities?
That is a very good question, and it limits the ability to build net worth,
Mm.
and in limiting the ability to build net worth, you're also limiting inheritance and transfer from generation to generation. So if I bought a home and it was valued at $250,000 in a city, but because I have a different zip code, mine is valued not at 250, but 220. you have just taken the net worth value out of that equation, and you have also not transferred money that would be used as generations and generations to come. That significant difference in that equity in that net worth is compounded over generation and generation.
Yeah. Thank you. And earlier you mentioned redlining. Would you talk a little bit more about redlining and the impact of that and how that affects home ownership for Black folks?
Well, that goes to what I just said about, let's take the Washington, D.C. area. And if you have a home, same square footage, same style, same year of built, but if one is in Northwest versus Northwest DC versus Southeast DC, the difference in value is tremendous. It could be 50% less because it's in Southeast for the same home, 3-bedroom home, kitchen, two and a half baths. That, because of the zip code, it would be valued twice as much as it would be in the Southeast. So that already puts the Black homeowner behind by 50%. That's not counting any equity or remodeling or anything else that's added to the house. He starts out day one 50% behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for going into that a little bit further. Would you talk a little bit about Ready Life and the work that Ready Life is doing to help folks out and, kind of shine a light on this issue?
Well, what Ready Life is doing, which is I think is phenomenal, is really going to the level playing field. If we are really going to talk about credit, we need to look at the repayability, the person's ability to pay their bills and obligations. And renters pay the highest bill of the month every first of the month.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to give them credit in a credit scoring process, which everyone acts as though credit scoring was here and always been, and it hasn't, then you're treating them unfairly. What Ready Life is saying is if you can pay $2,000 a month in rent and never late, and you can prove your repayability, and you can show that you have a track record of paying on time and on a regular basis, then that is really the score that we need to be taking advantage of. And there's lots of renters who have that. Now, they're not in the home market because of, not that they can't repay, but because they may not have the down payment. Getting back to what we were talking about, net worth and having income, disposable income, where the 10% or 20% down payment is a wall for them. Ready Life eliminates that wall. It creates two different things. It eliminates the wall of not having the net worth or the credit, the down payment, and at the same time, it takes credit for what you have been paying on a regular basis, which builds a better repayability history than any credit score could give.
Thank you so much to Eugene Cornelius Jr. for speaking with me. His knowledge and passion for this topic is greatly appreciated. You can learn more about his work and Ready Life's mission at readylife.com. Our parent company, Equal Pride, along with Advocate Channel, Out, and Pride are proud media sponsors for Miami Beach Pride. Pride festivities are taking place through April 16th. Join us for the events and parade on Ocean Drive. For more information, go to miamibeachpride.com or advocatechannel.com. That's all the time we have for this Advocate Today. You can visit us on the Advocate Channel YouTube page to stay up to date on our content and coverage. There, we are advocating for all. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. I'll see you next time.